Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. I'm Jeff Bidwell. Glad you are with us today on August 4th, back at home and ready to have a good week. We're going to talk with John Baker. He is one of the co-hosts of the March to the Arch podcast, as his tag team partner, Vance, last night dropped a little bit of a late Sunday night grenade on Missouri Valley basketball fans, just saying simply, I'm hearing, and hearing is you can bathe that in as much salt as you would like. But he said, I'm hearing that the Missouri Valley will be at a capacity of 14 teams when we get to the 26-27. About those thoughts and just some general conference expansion discussion coming up here in just a few minutes. On Wednesday, my radio tag team partner, Kenny Roth, will be with us from Murray State, as it is a big week for the Racers. We'll get into that in just a moment. And then on Friday, Ahmad Henderson, point guard for the UIC Flames, will be with us. Glad you are with us today. If you haven't done so already, please head over to YouTube and subscribe to the show there for free. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all of that good stuff to help this show continue to grow, as we are now T-minus 91 days. We are 14 weeks away from the opening day of the college basketball season. Well, we have November 3rd. Everyone has their eyes on that we're finally getting college basketball. But today, we finally have college basketball, as the Murray State Racers are in the Bahamas getting ready to play the first of 3 exhibition games, and the first will be here in less than an hour, as they'll be taking on the University of Calgary down in the Bahamas. Again, 10 o'clock game, not hard to find on YouTube. If you go and just search out Murray State and Calgary, the link should pop up. Again, 10 a.m. today, Central Time. The Racers, our first look at the Racers. They'll then play 2 teams from the Bahamas. There's a select team, another pro team, tomorrow and Wednesday, again at 10 a.m. Central, all 3 days. But this is going to be, and I guess in the world of the NFL, you see it every Monday, and some folks in the media have dubbed it as Overreaction Monday. And this will be Overreaction Monday with the Murray State basketball program. Good, bad, or indifferent, there will be reactions and there will be overreactions. Playing a team, again, the University of Calgary, that on paper, certainly Murray State should be able to take care of. But this is our first look, our first glimpse in a public setting of what this Murray State team is going to look like, with a first-year head coach in Ryan Miller, with 15 new players. And this is the first time, for 4 months, whether it has been Murray State, really everybody outside of probably Illinois State and Northern Iowa, everybody in this league has been nothing more than a theory. And, well, got this guy out of the portal, and, well, we signed this kid, out of some JUCO, and, well, we got this freshman coming in, and everything's on paper. And we just have no tangible evidence of what this team, this group of guys are. Now, again, Illinois State, so many guys back. Northern Iowa, so many guys back. We understand in general what they are going to look like this season. Everybody else is a blank slate, and Murray State is at the head of that pack with, again, a new coach and 15 new guys on the roster. So Racers win by 50 today. There will be people trying to buy Final Four tickets. If the Racers, for whatever reason, win by a couple, it's going to be, oh no, what is this team? None of it matters today. I promise. None of it matters. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. It matters from a standpoint of we finally get to see these guys in action. But it's all going to come down to, I think there's going to be, the overreactions are going to be on some level of who starts, who plays. I don't know that you can look into any of it. I think you have to get through the full 3 days and then sort of take everything in totality and look at, okay, what are these guys? who has played, who has started. I'm assuming the starting lineups will probably shuffle around a little bit every day. Don't know if anybody's hurt, if there's people that aren't going to play for one reason or another, maybe injury based. There are so many things, but this is going to be a giant 72-hour science experiment for Ryan Miller and his staff of just rolling his guys out and tinkering and putting this lineup together and this combo together. And so every urge, good, bad, or indifferent, Murray State fans, if you are itching to react, certainly on an overreacting standpoint, just pump the brakes. These are non-Division I teams they're playing. And in the end, this is just an exhibition, and it has no bearing on what we're going to see for the most part November and beyond. But I am curious to see who plays, because I think when you look at the 15 guys as a whole, you can make an argument really for all 15 to get some run. And I don't expect it to be everybody getting 14 minutes or whatever it is, that it's all going to be even. But I think there's going to be some semblance of that. But there will be some cream rising that you see guys getting more time to go. And so for me, the grander, when we visit on Friday, and we've had 3 full days of this, we'll get a better idea of, okay, this is what I think Murray State, the potential for Murray State can be. But this is really the only, we're going to get preseason polls and all that coming out. All of that is phooey, and everybody's guessing, except what they're going to have in their hearts of what did they see out of Murray State over these 3 days that may change their minds, or maybe be a little confirmation bias of, well, that's what I already thought, and we'll go with that. But if nothing else, it is August the 4th, and for the next 3 days, we are getting to watch one of our college basketball teams play. And that is awesome to sort of bridge the gap with 91 days until the season opener on November 3rd. So again, 10 o'clock today, they're taking on the University of Calgary, the Dinos. You can find that on YouTube. Just search Murray State and Calgary. It should be the first thing that pops up, and you'll be ready to roll to watch them play at 10 o'clock. Okay. Last night, our guest of honor, John Baker from the March to the Arch podcast, who will be with us here shortly. His tag team partner Vance throwing out a tweet last night, which, and I want to make sure we get the verbiage 100% correct here, because we don't want to misidentify what he said. He said, quote, "Hearing that 14 teams in the Missouri Valley Conference is likely for the 26-27 season." Okay. At first glance, I went, oh no, because I just don't know that there's 3 teams that you want to add. And I guess this comes down to there are ways to look at conference expansion, I think, as much as anything. And I think from, the last 2 times that the Missouri Valley has added teams, in 2018, they added Valparaiso, and you looked at the 5 years prior to Valpo coming in. They made out of the Horizon League. They made 2 NCAA tournament trips. 3 times they were in the KenPom top 65. The other 2 years they were 104, 163. You're like, it made sense, from a footprint standpoint, from a success standpoint. It made sense for them to come in. In 2022, when the league added 3 teams, they had Murray State, Belmont, and UIC. Murray State in the previous 5 years had been to 3 NCAA tournaments. They had won games twice. They'd been in the top 62 3 different times in the KenPom. Belmont had been to the tournament twice. They had won a game in 2019. They had been in the top 86 in the KenPom 3 times. It made sense. UIC came in their previous 5 years, no NCAA tournament trips, and their best KenPom year was 182. That one didn't make sense from a basketball quality standpoint. Now, did it make sense that you're bringing in Chicago? Sure, that makes sense. I understand the thought process behind that. We have also seen we're going to go get these television markets in these mid-major leagues has not necessarily worked. We went through this years ago when I covered the Ohio Valley Conference, and they went and they brought in SIU Edwardsville. Hey, we'll get the St. Louis market. No, you won't. Hey, we're going to go get Missouri Valley. We're going to go get Loyola Chicago. That's going to get us the Chicago market. No, you won't. UIC. No, you won't. You got Loyola when they got to the Final Four. That was all fine and well, but there is the TV market standpoint is not. It's not a viable rationale to go get schools. So, but I understand why conferences want to do that. For me, the big thing is you have 11 right now. Do I think we're going to stay at 11 forever? I 100% do not. There's going to be, you always wonder, are we going to lose somebody? I mean, there has been, and this is from absolute out of nowhere, just hearing people grumble about things, and there's no reporting behind this at all. But that it was like Drake was looking, maybe kicking the tires on the A10. Hey, would you take us? Whatever. So you have to be somewhat concerned about who's potentially leaving, and that you're going to have to add before. So maybe this could potentially be a proactive move. You've lost Missouri State, who in the last 3 years averaged 181 in the KenPom. When I just looked around at, like, okay, just geographical options. Okay, there's probably 13 schools with that. This is a non-scientific poll, but you look at the 13 schools that I came up with: the Dakotas, North and South, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, St. Thomas of Minnesota, Chattanooga, East Tennessee State, Omaha, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Bellarmine, Northern Kentucky, and Wright State. There have been, the last 3 years for those 13 schools, that's 39 seasons. Only one of those teams was in the top 100 in the KenPom, and that was Chattanooga last year, because they won the NIT. They got 5 games at the end. They got a bunch of top 100 games, and they got into the top 100. The second best team was St. Thomas last year, who was best 130. So it's like, are you really helping the basketball in the league? That is a question that has to be answered, especially when you're splitting up the pie. Everybody gets 11. There's 11 pieces of the pie going around now. Do you want to cut that into 12, 13, 14? Where are we bettering the league? And if you get rid of Missouri State at 181, out of all those schools I just mentioned, the only teams that were better than 181 the last 3 years, St. Thomas, South Dakota State, and Chattanooga. South Dakota State's probably not coming. As the rumors, and I don't know how much of it's rumor or fact or whatever, the Dakotas are all together. And you're always worried about them bolting for football. So you don't really want to bring them in thinking this is going to be a temporary deal and they're going to go. Is St. Thomas a possibility? Sure. Is Chattanooga a possibility? Yeah, it's a little bit out of the footprint, but the footprint is ever expanding in conferences all over the place. It just feels like there's a pile of not great ideas. And there's going to have to be a time where we have to add one of the bad ideas, because either 11, they don't like it, they want to go to 12, or we're suddenly at 10, or we're at 9 for some reason, and we have to add some more in there. There's just no one that's natural. Murray State, Belmont, Valpo, I understood the value to the league when they came in. None of these schools I mentioned. Omaha made the NCAA tournament last year. South Dakota State made it 2 years ago. That's it. Those are the only ones in the last 3 years. And I use the last 3 years because that's now this is the NIL era. This is like it's BC, to AD. This is the new time in college hoops. And so I just don't know that there is a viable option that is going to better this league and in the end make the league more money, because that's what we need. And that's what every league's trying to do with the options out there. And with all that said, it's probably going to be done before it's all said and done. And time now, after that filibuster, time to bring in the co-host of the March to the Arch podcast. He is John Baker. And Baker, good morning to you, sir. How is life wherever you are today?
Good morning, Jeff. Good to talk to you. I didn't know if I'd be coming on here and we get right into Redbirds versus Racers going into this season, because I think that's where we're headed.
We might just get there. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. All right. Your tag team partner threw a little late Sunday night news dump grenade last night, and maybe I should put him and his feet to the fire this morning, but you get the call. You're like, look, hey, this is a proactive move. If this is indeed true, what is your opening impression was, hey, I don't mind this. So what's sort of the thought process behind it for you?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me on, Jeff. I would say we need to be proactive, especially in the current climate of college athletics. I mean, if you look at Missouri State leaving us in last year, and then obviously you and I probably hear the same rumors throughout the Valley. Like, there's other teams that are kind of sniffing toward, whether it's a public school going to FBS, whether it's a private school going to an A10, you've heard the different rumblings around. So I think in this position, if you're the Valley, you need to be proactive, and you need to kind of go out there and say, hey, maybe we take a chance on a school that's not necessarily there yet, but maybe we can bring them there kind of keen to what happened with like Loyola a few years back. So to me, I think it is a good move to go this route. I think you have to be really smart about who you pick. But yeah, no, I'm all for it.
If I can give you three, who are your three
Whew.
that you would like to throw in there? Because, like I said, it's just there's a pile of not great options. It's like there's pros, but maybe more cons for all of them. But at some point, the commissioner's never been super. He's like, I'm going to go okay with 11. But we know that if they can get to 12 or maybe bigger to protect themselves, they'll do it.
Well, if I'm in Fantasyland, it's going to be Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky. But we're not living in Fantasyland here. So if I could get three realistic options, I think you would start with St. Thomas. I think that's the one that I think everyone's kind of feels like the highest ceiling of any of these teams that you're kind of looking at. And then from there, I personally would like to go into the Wisconsin area, and I would like to go for Milwaukee. That would be another team that I would look at. And then honestly, the third one would probably be Oral Roberts. Kind of getting back in that Tulsa market, a team that's had some pretty good success over the last couple of years. They're a name brand in the mid-major space, kind of similar to a Murray State when they came in, had some success in the NCAA tournament. I think they would be a good addition as well.
That's sort of raiding the Summit League, which in a lot of ways feels like, and again, everything at the tip of the spear is always football. And with the Dakotas, it feels like there's been, at least from the outside and not having any, inside intel, it feels like there's been a little bit of dipping toes in the water of, do we want to go to the Mountain West or whatever, whatever is out there in this, as the football world continues to evolve. And that has felt like Jeff Jackson just saying, let's just sit back and wait till the stuff on the other side of the Mississippi kind of falls apart, and then we can kind of poach from there. But I mean, that feels like, I guess, from that standpoint, let the Dakotas go play football, because I don't think we want Dakotas, right? I mean, because if you bring them in, you almost feel like you're on borrowed time till they get their next best option.
I agree.
And so they're gone. All right, now we got St. Thomas, so we can bring Oral Robertson.
Who are your three?
I think I like St. Thomas. I think St. Thomas is coming. I mean, I think they're a brand, coming out of D2, that I think they're people that are going to be, but I think from a footprint standpoint, I don't know. My Minnesota geography is no good, so I don't know, like, how do we get there? It's kind of like the Northern Illinois when they were mentioned, and I was like, you can't get to Northern Illinois from here. So why do we want them on top of them not being any good historically basketball-wise? I mean, I think St. Thomas seems to be putting resources in. They are quality. Oral Roberts is good, and I mean, I think, look, it's out of the footprint a little bit. I think Chattanooga is maybe a team, that it's, I mean, I think it's a big enough town that they've got to have some sort of airstrip at least over there that folks can fly in. But I think that the pearl clutchers about are going to have to at some point get over themselves, because we've just dropped a grenade on college athletics, and you need the best possible fit you can get. Geography be damned, I think.
Yeah, and one other team that we haven't even mentioned is Omaha. I think that's a team that is very realistic and I would consider them one of the more likely teams, quite frankly, in this mix. And do you want to take the second biggest team in Omaha? Is Omaha where you want to get back into after Creighton left, a decade and a half ago? But I do think that that's another school that we need to look at as someone who I would consider one of the more likely candidates. To me, St. Thomas and Omaha are the two most likely. And then from there, I think it's speculation.
Do you really think we're getting to 14 next year? I mean, is that, I mean, we've got plenty of time. I mean, it's, and as Vance said last night, it's like, we're about looking back to 2021 when the three new additions came in. I think Belmont was in September, and then Murray State and UIC were in January. So we have plenty of time still, but at the same time, clock's kind of ticking.
Yeah, no. I'll put it this way, Jeff. Vance wouldn't have tweeted that out if we didn't believe it, if we weren't very confident in the information. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I am very confident that we're going to be at 14, 26, 27.
So just from a logistics standpoint, the league was 10 forever, and then we got to 12, and now, we're at 11. And I mean, is the Valley purist in you okay with 14?
The Valley purist in me left a long time ago, Jeff. When we lost Wichita State, Creighton,
Yeah.
that side of the Valley purist went away. And as much as I do love this league, it's always kind of like I don't know how you view it, but I'm an Illinois State fan first and foremost. And so to me, it's always like, hey, what helps Illinois State? Okay, we got to strengthen the league. And so as much as I kind of don't love that we're 20 years removed from what the Valley was when I was growing up as a kid. I do like that, I can get around the idea of adding more teams and being in a different Valley. Like, I think that it's been a great success with the last 3 teams that we had. UIC, Murray State, and Belmont fit like a glove, in my opinion. And I hope that we can maybe strike the same way.
Are we bettering the league, though? That's the question. And what does bettering the league mean to you?
So in the short term, no. I don't think that I don't know if there's, like I said, unless you get some of these dream ads, which you're not going to, I don't think you do in the short term. I think in the long term, it's complicated. And what does that mean is a great question, Jeff. I would say this: if you can kind of build up a program stature in the Valley, coming from the outside in, that's a way to get there. And in the long term, you might be better off for it if you can maybe strike again like a Loyola. You have UIC, when we added UIC, they weren't exactly one of the tip top mid-major programs, but it feels like they've got a little bit of momentum going, and it feels like you put a new coat of paint on them, and they seem to have kind of upgraded themselves a little bit. So you'd hope the same things would happen when you come to the Missouri Valley Conference. I think you need to have high expectations for them when they come in. That's just part of the deal. When you join the Valley, you're coming into a good basketball league, and we're not looking to give that up.
It's like there's just it's trying to solve a problem that, because I think ultimately the whole thing is we need multiple bids. And at the very least, I mean, I think the math is always, and again, not ever hearing this from a directly out of a decision maker's mouth, but that the league sort of budgets for 3 units every 2 years. So at the very least, if we're not getting 2 teams in every other year, that whoever's getting in is winning a game. So hey, Drake did us a solid last year. That's all well. We're good for the next 2 years, but it's all about how do we get back to 2 and 3 and 4, those days are gone. Let's just get to 2 and be happy with it. Talking to Rocco Miller a couple of months ago, who's in all this, he said, it's easier sometimes, instead of worrying about getting the top of the league better, sometimes it's better to drop some anchors off the bottom. And so he's like, hey, maybe getting rid of Missouri State helps everybody in the short term. But then you're just looking at these schools and you're like, are we just adding other anchors? And again, maybe to your point, and you maybe nailed it. This isn't a 1 year. We're all looking at the short term that we just got to look down the road that say, hey, this is a good idea.
Well, if you look at some of the Valley added those teams, we added a UIC who came in, they weren't very good. And it seems like the floor is being lifted the last few years. So we're getting there. And even with Valpo's been kind of like the one hanging carrot that has not performed since they've come into the league. And you hope that if you do add a team, it's not another Valparaiso. But yeah, I don't know. I think we have to just look at it optimistically long term, because to your point, Jeff, in the short term, this is not a positive for the league.
Yeah. The positive, I guess the glass half full is just look at Loyola Chicago when they came into the league, and they were awful. And it was, hey, we got the Chicago market. This is great. And then I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams expected Final Four runs. And then, hey, like in a minute, they were out the door to the A10. And I guess that's what you just have to, I don't know what guardrails the league can put on whoever comes in to be like, you have to invest. You have to, maybe bring more to the table to be able to compete. But I feel like that's going to ultimately have to happen. All right, middle of the summer, Murray State getting their first of 3 games today as a let me get the proper phrasing here. You had a couple weeks ago in your summer podcast, you said, I have Murray State fatigue right now. Here we are. We're going to get 3 days of Murray State basketball. How much awakening can you have getting to see the Racers? Good, bad, or indifferent here? I said this is going to be overreaction Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with this team. What are you most interested to see here the next 3 days?
If we're playing the Calgary Dinos, one of the best logos I've seen in years.
Yes. Old school Raptors look there. It's good.
No, exactly. No, super excited about Murray State. I think the thing that I don't think I'm going to get answered anything until December with Murray
Yep.
State. I really don't. We had Coach Miller on a few weeks ago on the podcast. He was awesome. One of my favorite conversations we've had in a long time. If I'm a Murray State fan, I would be very optimistic going into the season. Much more optimistic than the past 2 years of the Valley, where you guys it felt like kind of a maybe growing pains to the Valley, and I feel like it's a fresh start for you guys. The talent is completely there. Like if you look up and down that roster, it's there. I don't think we're going to learn a ton here in these 3 days with Murray State. Just being honest with you, I think you're going to learn more in December when you get to see this team play some real games. You get some real competition. I would go as far as to say I think that Murray State probably has the highest ceiling in the league. I really believe that. Am I going to pick them to win the league? No, I probably have them 4th or 5th right now until I see it on the court. But potentially, I think that they have the highest ceiling, even higher than my Redbirds.
They are. I feel like this next 3 days is, if it's good, you expect it to be good. Playing against these three, a team from Canada and a couple of select teams from the Bahamas. If it's bad, then everybody's really going to go, "Oh my God, what have we done?" But it's August and we have basketball, so people are going to just lose their minds one way or the other.
Well, if it goes bad, Jeff, I don't think it's panic time either. I think this is just. I think this is the growing pains type of situation for them. Like if I'm the coach, I want to see these guys on the floor, get them a chance to play together. He's probably going to be mixing lineups. This is not the exact same rotation that you're going to see when you're in Valley season in February. Like this is kind of a let's see what we have. Let's see how they perform against an actual team. So. Yeah, I'm excited for Murray State this year, though. I think that this is going to be the first year when, if we go back to the conference realignment talk, when we added Murray State to the Missouri Valley Conference, this feels like the first time that we're really going to get our Murray State that we signed up for. I really believe that.
When you gave your midsummer power rankings, Illinois State, Bradley, Drake, Northern Iowa, Murray State, Belmont, SIU, those were your 7. You sort of said, just shake them up and put them in any order. But those were the 7 that you felt were title contending teams, leaving out UIC, Evansville, Indiana State, and Valpo with, I don't know, a couple weeks to marinate on not seeing anyone play or practice or anything. Has your mind changed on any of those bottom 4?
On the bottom 4, not really, to be honest with you. I think Indiana State might be a little bit better than maybe I'm giving them credit for. We're actually going to talk to Coach Graves soon on our podcast. But I don't, as far as contenders go, I think the 7 are right. I think that you can make a case for any of those 7 teams to truly contend for this league. Maybe a few more than others. Obviously, like I might come off as biased, but I think on paper you have to put the Redbirds number 1,
100%.
just based on who they're bringing back.
Yes.
Whether that comes to fruition, that's another question entirely. It's kind of similar to last year's Bradley. Bradley on paper last year, you had to put them number 1 just based on who was coming back. But this is going to be a really fun year, Jeff. This is, I think it was, I think Torvik's rankings had those 7 teams all in the top, I think 135.
Yeah.
Which is a great start for the Valley because, as you know, a lot of these metrics, you need to start high too. Like it's not about where you finish. You also need to start high so you give yourself a little bit of a cushion. So, as far as the bottom 4, no, not really. Sorry to give the bad answer to our 4 fan bases out there.
I guess just lastly, Illinois State, like I said, certainly in March, they were the preseason number 1 for everybody. Here in August, I don't know that it's going to change with just so many dudes back, but top level guys back and all league guys back. What's the general intel right now from the Bloomington Normal area about how the summer has gone for the boys in red?
The summer's gone really well. We're actually getting ready to talk to Coach Peden next 2 weeks. We're going to have him come on the podcast as well. Everything I hear, very positive. This is probably the most buzz that we've had in the Bloomington Normal area for Illinois State Redbird basketball in a decade. Like this even goes back to when they went 17-1 in the conference and want to share the league. This is the most optimism we've had in a long time. And I think it was, it started when Chase Walker announced that he was coming back. And then it just kind of, the finale, the bookend of it is when Johnny Kinzinger announced he was coming back. And it kind of like shook the league like, whoa, hey, everybody's losing all these guys. And Illinois State just brought back their 2 all-conference guys. I think the expectation is it's a high expectation, but I don't know, Jeff. I'm I'm trying to be cautious about this as a fan because I've been hurt so many times as a Redbird fan. So, but the vibes are good here in Normal.
Bowden Schoenberg out with another knee injury that they expect him to be back when practices start in 6-7 weeks or so. Missed all of last year with the foot issue. I don't know how optimistic you can be out of a guy you've never really seen play a game there with them, but boy, his pedigree says what an addition if he can finally get on the court.
Yeah, I know. Worst luck in the valley, right? He was actually the prize transfer last year to the team. That's the other thing people forgot about last year's team is they were doing it without Bowden Scumberg, who was projected to be a pretty big piece of that team. From all accounts, from all the people I've talked to, it sounds like he's going to be ready to go by October at the very latest, if not September. So this is it's not the same injury from before, so it's a different one, but it sounds like they avoided anything major and he should be good to go. So as far as how well he plays on the floor, if you just look at what he did in North Dakota State, I think a lot of people here are really excited to see kind of what he brings to the table. And I think that he adds just another dimension to that offense, including along with some of the new freshmen that are coming in that are very highly touted. This is one of the best recruiting classes we've had at Illinois State in years. And like I'm talking 10, 20 years. Like this is a great collection of guys who are going to make an impact real soon. So yeah, stinks for Bowden. Obviously, this early in this time of the summer. I know that news broke a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, not so much fun. But at least he should be back ready to go.
I think back to 11, I guess it was the 2013-14 season. It was Cameron Payne's freshman year at Murray State. Kind of had an okay year. And then they got hot at the end and they won the CIT, which you're like, okay, the CIT, great. And they spun that thing forward, ended up winning 25 in a row and finished 28-6, I think. Had a great year. Winning a CBI championship, is there I don't know how many T-shirts got printed and sold up there and for Illinois State fans, but is there at least, hey, you're one of 3 teams in the country, I think, that won your last game last year. And just in terms of just positive momentum into the summer, how did the fan base sort of embrace that, hoping that this could be the start of something good?
Well, and my co-host, when they announced they're going to the CBI, my co-host kind of gave me a little bit of crap saying, "Oh, it's a CBI, who cares?" But as a Redbird fan, we were excited because we knew, hey, this could be potentially the launching pad into next season. So obviously, I think as Redbird fans, I think we were all excited. We won something. Like,
Sure.
How long has it been since Illinois State hasn't cut down the nuts in St. Louis since '98? Like, there's a reason our NIL club is the 1998 club, and so. Winning that tournament, I think, was a nice launching pad, and hopefully, I would imagine that had some influence on Johnny and the whole crew staying together next year as well. So, listen, Jeff, as Redbird fans, there's not a lot that we've been able to get excited about. So, yes, we were very excited about this one. I think that that's the kind of tournament, and that's the type of team in the Missouri Valley Conference. If you have a team who maybe you can potentially keep together for a couple of years, that's the kind of team that needs to go to those tournaments.
Yep.
And I think in the future, I hope that some of the other schools in the Valley look at that and say, hey, we might have a chance next year. Like, it's better if we stay on the floor and keep playing as a group right now.
He's John Baker. He's the co-host of the March to the Arch podcast. Find it on all your podcast platforms. Great stuff all summer, interviewing all the coaches. And I got to get your boy Vance on here and hold his feet to the fire about his sources, try to waterboard him and figure out where he found this 14 from. But I appreciate you coming on this morning, and we'll certainly talk again soon.
Anytime, Jeff. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. There's the man they call Baker. As always, good stuff with Vance and Baker over there on that March to the Arch podcast. Listen to it every time. And they said the coach stuff they get is great. So make sure you go in to check that out. All right. A couple other headlines of the morning today before we get out of here, as Bradley has added we've had some July ads. How about a August ad, as Handy Toussaint III has committed to Brian Wardle and the Braves, as Toussaint, a junior college transfer, 6'8" forward, played the last 2 years at Weatherford Junior College in Weatherford, Texas, averaged about 8 points, 7 rebounds a game, was an honorable mention all conference standout there at Weatherford. This was a late addition due to a late departure. Meyer Wall, who had transferred in from Eastern Kentucky, I believe signed with the Braves back in April. Within 2 months, he was gone from the program, and so maybe an unexpected scholarship opening there for Coach Wardle and the Braves, and he's able to fill that here in time before fall practices start with Handy Toussaint the third. Belmont has hired a new assistant coach um, for our friend Casey Alexander, as they have welcomed in J.J. Butler as the new assistant coach. He has replaced Sean Rotiliano, who left Belmont early July, as he took his first head coaching job, I believe a Division II job up in the Northeast. But with Rotiliano's departure, that meant there was a spot. And Casey Alexander hiring J.J. Butler. He spent the last 2 years at Delaware as an assistant coach. And like everything in this business, it's all about relationships. J.J. Butler played for Casey Alexander at Lipscomb once upon a time. And now Butler coming back to Nashville, this time down to the other end of the boulevard to help out the Bruins at Belmont. And finally, this morning, holy cow. We love scheduling. We love scheduling, especially on the women's side, because you don't get these types of games on the men's side. You just don't. And on the women's side, you get them a lot, and it's always nothing short of an awesome opportunity for the Missouri Valley schools when they can get one of the big boys to come into their barn. And that will happen as Belmont and the Tennessee Lady Vols have agreed to a home and home series. It will start this year, November the 13th, in Knoxville at Thompson Bowling Arena. But then in 2026, the Lady Vols will come west to Nashville and play at the Curb Event Center and take on the Bruins, as Belmont has just absolutely loaded up the last couple of years with their non-conference slate, from Mississippi State to Duke, to Kentucky, to Ohio State, now Tennessee coming in. It is just one after another trying to better themselves. And, last year, Bart Brooks' bunch came so close, just not able to topple any of those superpowers, so close. And that is sort of the difference. I mean, their metrics were very good, just didn't have that one big name to hang on the wall that, yep, we beat them to get them into at-large territory when they fell to Murray State in the Missouri Valley Championship in Evansville at the Ford Center. But they are not going to quit trying to get these games, play these games, and try to win these games. And they will get their first opportunity in Knoxville, November the 13th at Tennessee. All right. I believe that about does it for this morning's edition of Morning in the Valley, as we are T-minus 22 minutes away from having college basketball. Murray State's men in the Bahamas, the first of 3 exhibition games. They'll take on the University of Calgary, the Dinos. That game will be streamed live on YouTube. Just search Murray State and Calgary, and the link will come right up. They'll get rolling at about 10 a.m. Here this morning, Central Time. And then the next 2 days, same time, same place, they'll be playing teams from the Bahamas. There's a select team and a professional team they will also play. So a good opportunity for Ryan Miller's Racers, and a good opportunity for all of us to get our first look at these Racers here over the next 72 hours. While you're at YouTube watching the Murray State Calgary game today, head on over to Morning in the Valley and subscribe to us there, and help us continue to grow. Subscribe for free, comment, share, like, all of that stuff, as this show continues to just keep creeping up a little bit more every day. And we appreciate all of that from you. Coming up on Wednesday, we'll have my radio tag team partner from Murray State, Kenny Roth. He will be on the show, and we will talk about the Racers and how they have fared in the Bahamas. And so that'll be coming up on Wednesday morning. That does it all for today's edition of Morning in the Valley. Glad you've been with us. We'll see you Wednesday right here on Morning in the Valley.